All right, so I guess with that, I'll just go ahead and start. Not gonna be a big crowd tonight, but obviously this is available for our members to go back and watch on YouTube if they'd like. So we just have a general meeting. Won't be too long, just a few things to cover tonight. Start every meeting with the four-way test. So it's of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build good wills and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Quick little icebreaker game. So we're just gonna do 2 truths and a lie. So I'll start us off. Has everyone played this game before? I guess would be a good question. Okay, so everybody knows how to play. So let's see. I used to live in California. I used to be a firefighter, and I have 4 dogs. Does anybody want to take a guess at which one is my lie?
Firefighter.
I don't think you had 4 dogs.
So, John, you're correct.
When are you a firefighter?
I was born in California. I used to be a firefighter back in my hometown, and I actually have 2 dogs, not 4. So, John, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I gotta come up with a lie.
Sadie, how about you?
I'm still thinking.
I'm ready.
On the spot.
All right, go for it, Dr. Babin.
Okay. I'm a retired naval officer. I'm a scratch golfer, and I'm a grandmother.
So I know that you served in the Navy. What did you say about being a golfer?
Scratch golfer.
Scratch golf.
I don't think it's fair for Matt and I to answer on this one.
And I'm a grandmother.
I guess the golf thing? I don't know.
Does anyone know what a scratch golfer means?
No.
They're good. They like shoot even par. That's the lie. I'm not that good. I do play golf though.
All right, who's next? Who would like to go next?
Okay, I'll go. My favorite color is pink. I have 2 siblings and I love to run.
I'll say your favorite color is pink, that it's not pink.
No,
Yeah,
my favorite
that
color
was gonna
is
be my
pink.
guess.
I have 1 sister. I don't have 2 siblings.
I'll go. So I lived in Hawaii for a few years. I have 3 dogs, and I once had VIP tickets to a Taylor Swift concert.
You did that? No, I'm just-
I guess the dogs.
Yeah, I'll say the dogs too. The Taylor Swift sounds too accurate to have made up.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was so specific.
Well, that was actually the lie. I only sat in the 3rd row.
Oh.
Well, that was good. So I guess that's everybody, right? So all right, get a little icebreaker game, get everybody going. So on the next thing, I want to talk about World Polio Day, which will be October 24th. That's a Saturday. So I'm going to play a little clip and pretty much just show the statistic, which is Rotary has been a partner in polio eradication since 1988. And they've reduced polio cases by 99.9%. So I think Africa just became one of the last countries to have like 0 cases of polio. I think there's like one or two really small countries that still have a few cases, but Rotary has been a huge partner in polio eradication, like I said, since 1988. So I'm going to show a little video. If you guys have any trouble hearing this, just let me know by a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Pandemic is triggering some familiar feelings among Americans of a certain age. They've been here before. Our cover story is reported by Rita Braver.
Sorrow, fear, hospitals overwhelmed, closures, all due to the deadly coronavirus, and all hallmarks of another deadly and mysterious virus that terrified Americans starting at the turn of the 20th century, polio. One huge outbreak in New York City, June 1916.
Panic soon begins. Those who can pack their bags and prepare to leave town. Thousands hurry toward the piers and railroad stations.
As Walter Cronkite recounted in this 1958 CBS News broadcast, that was just the beginning. After World War II, polio became an ever greater national threat.
The 3-year statistics run 50,000 polio cases, 103,000 cases, 122,000 cases. Where will it end?
What were your symptoms?
High temperature, pain, headaches. I could not move. I couldn't stand up.
Joanne Yeager was a healthy 14-year-old in Denver when she got polio in the summer of 1951. She would spend 3 months in the hospital before the disease started to retreat as mysteriously as it attacked. Like COVID-19, polio had different effects on different people. It left Yeager with permanent weakness in her legs. Still,
Did you ever stop and think, wow, a lot of kids died from polio?
Yes, and that was brought home real quickly because on the same floor that the ward was on were the iron lungs.
Iron lungs were primitive respirators, breathing for patients. Like COVID-19, which strikes older adults more frequently, polio had a greater impact on a vulnerable age group.
One of the things that tugged at the heartstrings of everyone is that polio, for some reason, targeted young kids.
Carl Kurlander spent 10 years researching and co-producing a documentary about polio.
The fear, my friends, is polio.
He says one pivotal adult was left paralyzed from the waist down, Franklin D. Roosevelt, who would later become president. When did Roosevelt contract the virus?
When he was 39 years old.
Roosevelt helped launch the organization that came to be called the March of Dimes.
Dimes pour into the White House to help the fight.
All in an effort to curb this dreaded disease.
With polio, there was really no effective treatment. So it was really a sense of helplessness, probably like we're feeling today with coronavirus.
The March of Dimes helped fund a groundbreaking effort.
This is the place, the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. This is the man, the director of the Virus Research Laboratory, Dr. Jonas E. Salk.
Jonas Salk and his team spent 6 years working on a vaccine, conducting a huge nationwide trial on 1.8 million children.
The most extraordinary field trial in medical history.
No one knew whether it was safe, whether it would be effective, but people were so both afraid and believers that they'd volunteer their school kids to be guinea pigs for this new vaccine.
But in 1955,
one of the greatest triumphs in medical history is achieved.
Success.
History is very important to understand.
Dr. Paul Dupré, who holds the Jonas Salk Chair and heads the Center for Vaccine Research at the University of Pittsburgh, says the march of history gives today's scientists an advantage.
We can manipulate, we can alter the genetics, the composition of these viruses in ways that Dr. Salk could only have but dreamed.
Jonas Salk, of course, had competition. Dr. Albert Sabin developed an oral vaccine a few years later. Now, Dr. Dupré, who's trying to adapt the measles vaccine to combat the coronavirus, is one of scores of researchers around the world all working toward the same goal.
Competition is something which drives innovation, but there's another C. We need to be collaborative. And that's not just colleagues in the United States, that's colleagues all over the world.
The FDA just approved an emergency treatment for COVID-19, but the greatest hope is for a vaccine. Dupre and his team are already testing theirs on mice, and elsewhere human trials have begun, several already showing great promise.
Do you feel that the public is really behind scientists in the way they were behind those looking for the polio vaccine?
I do. I think it's hard in an instantaneous world that we live in. Everything needs to be done yesterday. It's hard to be patient, but I think strong leadership, clarity from scientists helps the public understand that we are doing our best to defeat this virus.
Neither Jonas Salk nor Albert Sabin and their teams personally profited from their discoveries, as Salk explained to CBS's Edward R. Murrow.
Who owns the patent on this vaccine?
Well, the people, I would say. There is no patent. Could you patent the sun?
65 years later, with polio all but eradicated, it remains to be seen if the creators of a coronavirus vaccine will feel the same way. As for 83-year-old Joanne Yeager, who still lives with the effects of polio.
What lessons do you think we can learn if we study the polio epidemic?
That we can be survivors of some of these illnesses, and we can come out as better people.
Historian Carl Kurlander.
We've got to have belief in the scientific community. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young had polio, Francis Ford Coppola, Itzhak Perlman, and ordinary people. Once they came through this disease, they were able to really become the best they could be. And I think that we're at our best when we work as a country and as a world to defeat the unseen enemy.
So I just want to show that that clip is kind of an introduction to those that may not know what polio was, and then kind of I thought it gave a good comparison without being too long, as some of the videos that Rotary has posted are 20 to 30 minutes long, so something short, and then also relative to what's going on today with coronavirus. And then also just a side note that was posted back in May, as far as the scientific findings and scientific vaccine research that was going on. So,
hey, Matt, can I add something?
Yes, go ahead.
Rotary's contribution really with eradicating polio was, they didn't develop the vaccine, obviously, but they were the ones that really developed the supply chain and the distribution chain for it, because it had to be refrigerated. And so getting that vaccine all around the world was a major endeavor. And of course, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a big contributor with this as well. And that's one of the reasons why polio is really eradicated, is because the vaccine was given to people that needed it. And Rotary had a big role in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the three biggest contributors were Rotary, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and UNICEF. So I think with all three of those partnerships is ultimately what led to polio eradication. I think it's awesome that Rotary International as an organization was able to play a role in such a huge medical issue. So we will have a week of service in October 25th through the 31st. We talked about this as a board and we came up with some ideas, ways to serve. So pretty much if you guys would like to perform one of these throughout that week, take a picture of it, send it to us. We'll post it on our social media pages. And really, this is just a great way to kind of get out and serve, even though with the pandemic and with the, not having people next to each other, events, that sort of thing. So we've got a different couple ways to serve. You can go out and help your elderly neighbors, maybe by going and getting them some groceries, going to the grocery store if they don't want to because of the coronavirus, or doing some yard work for them in their yard. Another thing that we thought of was to write some letters to the veterans. So there's the veterans home here in Oxford. So I'm going to work on getting some details for that and the address, and that will be sent out in our next club email. And then also maybe just picking up some trash around your neighborhood or around your community. I know just driving down the highway, I live off Highway 7, there's a bunch of trash all over the road. So, you know, I think that'd be a great opportunity to just go out there and be safe if you're on the side of the road, but, you know, just pick up some trash. And then also you have the option to donate some food, either to the local pantry or to the dog shelter as well. So those are both on the north side of town. And then last but not least, we talked about this a couple times, and John has actually done some of these himself, but making the tutorial video either about Excel or maybe Zoom, like our last meeting covered, or something along those lines. And then also, if you'd like, maybe just reading a book out loud. Those are some great ways just for young children now to kind of have that experience that they may have gotten in the classroom. And those will be posted to our social media pages like YouTube. So one of the last things that we're going to cover tonight is our Lunch and Learn professional panel. So this will be held on October 29th from 12:30 to 1:30. This professional panel is going to be comprised of people from the healthcare industry to a news anchor, and then somebody that works in social services, as well as an architect. So kind of covering a whole bunch of different industries and different companies. These are all Rotarian members, so this will be an opportunity to kind of for them to walk you through their career and how Rotary's played a part in that. We're pairing with University of Memphis Rotaract and Christian Brothers University Rotaract Club for this event. So it'll be a really good time, and I encourage everyone to come out. The details for the Zoom link will be sent in the next email update. And then we have elections. So elections, all the positions will be open for this year's elections, which will take place in November. We'd like you to submit your name no later than November 6th by email to olemissrotaract@gmail.com with your name and the position that you'd like to run for, which could be president, vice president, treasurer, and or secretary. Elections will be held November 9th, and that will be done via an email form that will be sent out to all of our members, and it'll just be a poll, and that will be that. And then I believe that is all we have for tonight. So does anyone have any questions? No takers? Well, with that, I hope everyone has a good night, and thank you again for coming.